hard ult, or they're just going to get caught. And if they don't flash it, well, guess what? The ball is waiting on your head as you come out. You get shockwave, right? So it does give you some engage, though it is lower commitment, a little less reliable, and it does give you a winning 2v2. And with Victor being picked in
going to continue to be an issue. Shun walking his way up. There was a large wave here at the turret. Xiaoshu trying to clear it out, but now here's your Dustbringer immediately into the tether. Shun taking the aggro for now. It's first blood over to Bin, and
very tough because then you're under your tower. You know a dive could be coming. You want to clear out that wave, but the timing was so good from Shun because Xiaoshu spends all of his spells on this wave, and as soon as you see that there's no spells, there's no flash, there's no outplay.
Okay, Vampire goes in, tries to find a nice combo here on to on. They even commit the Chains of Corruption there from Gala. They get a good chunk of damage onto the enemy support. It costs his heal, but he's still just fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine for now. The question is, can Junja get in behind him and look for the follow-up? Because there's no flash on because of that trade in mid. That's what they're trying to punish.
Okay, on level 5 now. Junja coming down with the Cataclysm available. Vampire starts off the dive, and on is already down. Kill goes over to Tagala as well as Viper tries to escape. Pops the clan, still has flash because of a turn kill. There on the Vampire, wants to make his way back underneath the turret, but it's not going to happen. Double kill for
Gala, which is problematic. Vampire has TP'd up towards this top side and isn't looking for, he is looking for an angle, and now he just uses jump.
Yeah, Bin already using the Mega Gnar there onto Xiaoshu. Hits him with another boulder toss, but the public execution finds the mark this time, and Bin has reverted to mini form. Xiaoshu should have the damage. Vampire's rotation ends up paying some big dividends as Xiaoshu gets the kill onto Bin, but back in the mid lane, it's Hong Q under pressure yet again, not only on, but Shun with. And so now the Grubs are going to be the target for Junja as he does smite down the first one and then decides to leave. Again, Bin has control and priority over the top lane. He gets to rotate first down into the river. He's already in Mega Gnar form, which makes it very easy for Shun to just force the enemy jungler away. He'll secure the other two Grubs.
Also, and I think it's just a nod to the fact that, well, there is Ambessa, there is Jarvan, there's all of this dive.
Okay, Chains of Corruption here on the bottom side. Lots of damage from Gala, and Vampire on tries to get away. Bops the heal as the piercing arrow just barely doesn't have the distance. Gala gets caught by the Tempered Fate, and now Viper's looking for a little bit more. Nice timing there on the Foss Bomb plus the Rocket. Meanwhile, over in the mid lane, looks like we might have a little bit of a problem as junglers are showing up. Paranoia was already spent. However, Junja was ready to like there's going to be a contest. JDG are up 2-0 in Dragons.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's pretty much a can't miss soul. It's you're either going to get Cloud, Mountain, Infernal, or Hextech.
Mountain it is. Was already committed just a moment ago. Knight also rotating over towards this fight, but it's Vampire going in for the headbutt pull. Tempered Fate to try to disengage it. Paranoia turns off the lights. Knight down to half HP, goes on a magical journey back through the wall, but now the re-engage coming out from Shun and Bin looking for Xiaoshu, who has to flash away. Flash out from Shun, dodging the combo from Junja, as now Bin gets stunned up, but he's not too worried about it. Junja's going to be your target here next, as BLG, they use the Shockwave. That's going to force the flash of the Jarvan here as well.
Running things, and Bin just got his Triforce. The Eclipse was that earlier item spike, but now we're coming in looking for a fight off that spike.
Okay, on throws the Tempered Fate on himself, expecting the public execution to maybe hit, but now there's your Knockwave on to 2. JDG's got to be careful. However, Shun might just die. No, Knight gets the kill on the Gala. Shun's still alive in the middle of everybody. Xiaoshu's going to be your target here next. Shun's still staying alive, but Junja gets him on the way out. On with the flash away, and Junja's going to die here next. It's a back and forth. Really, really good stuff. But of course, since Shun was the one who died, I spoke too soon. The Rift Herald didn't actually get claimed by BLG area of the Rift instead. And you can see Junja trying to clear out some of the vision here, but On and Knight are waiting. Shockwave beautifully pulls Junja back out of the combo, and now the Jarvan is stuck between a rock and a hard place. They will kill him in the river.
With the perfect Shockwave there. Gets the kill, gets in the dragon, slows down that march towards Soul, which is so important. And now top lane, mid lane becoming...
Again, just trying to defend the entrance to their jungle, trying to defend this tier 1 turret that is barely holding on down here in bottom lane. But BLG wants to stop him. Nice engage coming out from Vampire, but the Tempered Fate again. It's On's board into the double binding right after, but Knight flashes away. He keeps his mid laner alive. On is doing great in game number 1. Junja flies over the wall, and Knight finally dies. Hong Q takes the kill, and that one's a shutdown. On has to try to escape now as Shun and Viper realize there's nothing they can do to save their teammates. JDG behind the engage they needed. They managed to pick up the 2 kills, but it comes at the cost of the tier 2 turret top.
Even with a great play there from On, it didn't matter. Now Shun's going to get walked down.
Yeah, this is just a blunder from Shun, hanging around too long to look at the tier 1 turret dying. Now he's going to have to do it from the grave.
Yeah, and BLG, you know, while they do have these really dominant early games, they have to be careful. They got to stay buttoned up because this is something that we saw in the upper bracket finals, not the grand finals, but in the upper bracket finals. They created some really big advantages. Just too confident. confident.
Meanwhile, back to live, it's BLG going in for an invade yet again. The paranoia is not even needed, but the Tempered Fate finds a second target. They already killed the jungler, now they want the top laner as well, and BLG find 2. BLG.
Yep, and generally the recourse to this would be, oh, well, maybe we'll push in mid, get a tier 1 there, but On TP just walks in very confidently into On, gets bound into that blue buff. The shockwave is there to follow. We're back to live, and On.
Yeah, he wanted to get some vision. He was thinking the Rift might have been safe enough, but unfortunately for him, it is not.
Found Victor.
If you're JDG, you're honestly pretty happy with that, because at least that's going to slow down this Baron war machine, because they only have a 4v5. Normally, picking off the support randomly can not mean a whole lot, but here I feel like it can at least slow them down a bit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ben's going to make me a liar as he pushes into the enemy base. The flash away to try to escape from Xiaoshu, as Shun takes a lot of damage from the Nexus turrets, but not enough to make it an even trade. This is what you were talking about from the finals. It's Ben and Shun taking Xiaoshu's lunch money the entire game long. The Ambessa 1 and 4. Yes, JDG will achieve soul point here as they grab their third Drake earlier, and now it's the JDG base that's cracked open.
I mean, they're just bullying this poor guy. Ben ate his lunch, Shun put him in the locker. They just won't leave him alone, even under the Nexus towers.
Oh man, now Jun just trying to get away, but again, this Jarvan is constantly the victim of the shockwaves. Gala with a defensive chains of corruption, but that doesn't matter. It's a double kill for Viper's Corki. On goes on a magical journey. Hongq and Vampire go home because nowhere is safe outside of the base. BLG are on the warpath, and their opponents only have 3 champions to try to stand against them. The top lane tier 3 turret is already down. BLG with a 4-man push. Shun is going towards the bottom lane, wants to take out what's still standing of that tier 2 turret. There's not full health on it, still about half or so, as the rest of BLG will now be able to rotate over, guaranteed they can continue to apply that pressure. Meanwhile, Knight is going to make sure they still have 2 points of pressure. Oh wait, the map lied to me. I thought that said 3 plates, not 5. Anyway, it was full HP, but it's not going to be for very long, as Knight continues making sure that there's more than one thing JDG has to worry about, and BLG claims the last remaining tier 2. I don't really see a world where they can try to contest anything in open ground against BLG, as now it looks like On may have got caught. Honestly, this is huge for JDG. 30 seconds to go until that dragon spawns, and the enemy support is down. Now Ben gets caught on the very edge of the public execution, has to flash away as he reverts to mini form, and JDG might have found the chance to grab this Mountain Soul. Can they make sure they maintain this control? However, Junja goes in. The follow-up is right there. Knight has to flash over the wall, trying to stay alive. Shun comes in, wanting to support his carries, create a little bit of space. The pressure is on, and now they've already found the kill into Gala. They try to reposition their jungler, but Junja falls as well. Shun still staying alive. Knight, Ben, and Viper all firing back, and this is Viper's moment. The Corki with the double kill, as Ben and Knight should have enough damage to take down Xiaoshu easily. Hongq goes after Viper, but the Corki is running and gunning and standing and fighting, and now Hongq's about to die too. He goes golden, but the gold is nothing but a trophy for BLG.
We got a full send it. It's not going to get better than this. Xiaoshu is able to tag Ben. They're able to chase in, and
so let's see if they can accomplish that. JDG have held the line for 1 minute and 20 of that 2 minutes of the Baron, as now BLG continue their push, but there's the paranoia into the dive with an Aquawave combo, and now the Gala's already dead. BLG have surely found their moment. Shun is going to die though, as Vampire's creating space with Unbreakable Will. He finally falls. Xiaoshu's your next target. Ben hops in because he's got the Guardian Angel. He'll resurrect. Shun died, but he's the only one. Hongq tries to get away, but Viper does so much damage on the Corki, and that will do it. 5 for 1. BLG find the fight. They're going to eliminate the remainder of the JDG structures with a 16,000 gold lead almost by the time game 1 ends, and BLG are up 1-0.
Exciting game. And then you see a draft like this, and you're like, oh, you just won the game.
Yeah, Steadfast Presence is one of those abilities that I feel like is just absolutely nuts against certain champions. Okay, JDG is going with the ladder combo that bullies lane. Caitlyn
You tank a bunch of damage, and you have to take a really bad base there. Sure, it sucks that you lost your flash, but it's better to lose the flash early if you're going to do it.
Ooh, look at the damage! First Blood Gala in the 2v2, the Piltover Peacemaker into the follow-up.
You know, one of the best supports in the LPL. He's really impressive, and is going to be an important part of any win they could get.
Ooh, nice solar snare there onto Hongq. Knight forcing out the Spirit Rush from the enemy jungler, as the Drake does go over to JDG. Now Shun in the middle of the pit, has to flash trying to get away from Junja, but now Junja turns it right back around. He wants to go after Knight, who escapes back towards the rest of his team, waiting over the wall. So both teams trying to get a little bit fresh here in the fight after the Dragon's already down, but nobody falls. JDG still up 1,500 gold 8 minutes into the game. They're feeling great about this early game.
Yeah, and that smite was a clencher as Xiaoshu interrupts the smash.
Okay, the defensive Scion ulti again. So they will see Junja doing this. They won't be able to stop at least the first grub, and you can see Hongq already in a defensive position to cover for Junja, who now backs away from the remaining two grubs, ready to help the fight as On tries to go in, but instead the reversal is beautiful. Gala gets out of the range. They fire back with a light binding because they know that Nico has to stop in the same spot to drop the ulti, and the Wombo combo is just way too powerful. The Piltover Peacemaker takes the kill. Not only do they get their second 2v2 kill of the game in the bottom lane, but JDG claim all three grubs. They're up over 2,000 gold. Game 2 is all JDG all the way.
And now the bot lane is going to get even more tough because Gala will have those grubs.
Okay, Bin just going to walk this one off. Wants to get away from Xiaoshu. Misses the decimating smash. Charged it a little bit long there. Bin goes back in for the ulti. As Shun shows up, point blank Keeper's Verdict finds the double knockup. Decimating smash with a double knockup of its own as Knight appears. Junja drops, and there's the second one as well as Xiaoshu falls. That's actually what the translation of Finale's Fun Count is.
Okay.
But yeah, the name was definitely harder to remember earlier, even though I remembered it but forgot the real one. As Shun, channeling the Keeper's Verdict, nice knock, gets rid of the enemy jungler there, wants to try to finish the damage here onto the Dragon, and there it is, Mountain Drake secured for BLG. They're going to feel good about that one. As the Vi ulti, he flashes over the wall and he drags Junja with him. I love when players do that against a Vi. Her
Dragon, it is BLG with slight advantages on the top side. And this is going to be a game, we already kind of knew it, but it's really all about Gala. He has all of that gold lead, and Bin has been able to stabilize thus far on that top side. Xiaoshu's doing his best, but it's tough.
Yeah, a Thornmail doing plenty of work here for the Scion as he goes in for the point-blank ulti. Decimating smash right after. Bin's got the timing to catch him on the very edge, and as the Soul Furnace...
That's going to one-shot you sometimes, like you see that in solo queue when they really get a lot of gold. He is just playing that supportive style. They're going to try to set up a dive onto Xiaoshu, though. They are bullying this guy.
Yeah, the tackle straight into the turret for the stun, but where's the rest of the damage? Viper has to overcommit to get it, and that means he's going to die in a one-for-one trade.
Yeah, it is a one-for-one.
Treads completed, making sure that he can get out of the CC when he does get hit by it inevitably as the front line for BLG. But a TP coming in now for JDG with a Rift Herald down to 4,000 HP. JDG wants to fight for this. Viper's away from the rest of the team. Tries to throw out the Arc of Judgment. A disguised Nico as a minion in the jungle. We could see On go for something, but no. JDG hasn't seen him yet. They don't want to go for anything here. Let's see if they can make their way forward now as the Scion ulti leads the charge. Xiaoshu though with a slice and dice through the Scion to get away. JDG decides
you're looking towards 3 items because this is the guy with all your gold, and this is the guy who has to deal with Bin.
Ooh, nice engage there from Junja and Hongq going after Knight. The rebuttal buys a little bit of time for him. Solar Snare underneath the turret, but there's no way the turret can do enough damage to make that trade even. So you got the mid-jungle combo. That Vi Ahri from Hongq and Junja finds their target.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find their target there. Knight died while channeling the ultimate. Otherwise, maybe he has enough damage to threaten Junja. Probably still would have lived, but this means with that play up on top side, that timing is so late that it means they're just giving over a free Dragon.
Yep, Hongq takes the tier 1 turret in the top side, but remember that they did have to commit both Spirit Rush and the Vi ulti onto that top side play. So BLG knows, all right.
God damn, your AD carries down 40 CS. He must have farmed really badly. Viper has 10 CS a minute.
Yeah, more, actually. It's just crazy, as now BLG are looking for their opportunity to make a play. Tackle into the wall onto Hongq. Keeper's Verdict, ready to juggle it. Golden Eclipse finds the kill. They try to get Junja away, but now Viper is on the hunt, chasing him down. He has transcended. Another Ball Breaker might try to get Junja out of the way, but no! Steadfast Presence stops that in its tracks. Viper gets a couple of kills here, and the The Rift Herald is summoned up in mid lane. This is kind of a, it was timing out, so we just have to use it, Herald. So unfortunately for BLG, yeah, it's not great. Shelly's not even going to get a charge onto one turret. So Bin in first. If he accidentally eats a cupcake, it's not a problem. He'll step straight through the banana brush, but the Dragon has already been claimed by JDG, and now Bin's eating a ton of damage. Final spark over the top. Bin already almost dead. Keeper's Verdict hits no one. Shun tries to use the Steadfast Presence to defend himself. Defensive Pop Blossom coming out from On, but he's already dead. It's a 1-for-1 trade here so far. Xiaoshu tries to get away. You can see Hongq barely any HP left on the Ahri. So both top laner and mid laner from JDG.
A lot more armor on top. They're probably both going to go Randuin's this game.
Okay, On going forward with the Pop Blossom. They want the damage here into Junja, but the tackle doesn't hit the wall. On staying alive for now. Junja dies, but is traded back as Hongq kills On. Now over in the mid lane, it's Gala hit with a decimating smash. Viper needs one more auto attack in the Fed. Caitlyn is dead. Now up here with the top side River. It's another kill. Knights on a killing spree. Hongq falls. Xiaoxu wants to get one back onto Shun, and he needs it. They don't want to let BLG try to get away with taking a bear in 25 minutes into the game, but they don't have anything to say about it. That's 4 dead on JDG. The throw is complete, and BLG's going after Baron.
JDG, let's check the time. Time of death, 25:50 in this game. BLG rip the game from their hands. The lead for Gala means nothing. The solo laners again stealing the show, and JDG can even worse because now you're not actually pushing. Now you're not getting as much gold. You're slowed down so much. When is his LDR going to finish? Next game?
Probably, because you were right in what you said earlier, my friend. It's Randuin's Omen now on Bin.
It's going to be double Randuin's.
I guess I don't really care that you have 75% crit chance on Caitlyn right now, because that means you have a 75% chance to get your damage reduced by Randuin's Omen. Now BLG continuing to push forward here on the tier 2. The doubled up Baron cannon minions just providing plenty of extra firepower, but JDG can't even try to defend this. They don't even need the extra range of the cannon minions because everybody on BLG can step forward, get the job done themselves. 4,500 gold lead. Baron for another 90 seconds. Pressure onto the tier 2 turret in mid lane now as BLG is just easily walking from lane to lane, taking whatever structure they want, and JDG is struggling to find any sort of a response.
I mean, even On is going to have a frozen heart. Knight has a Zonia's. There's so much armor on this team. It is going to be incredibly difficult. And really, you only have Viper as a target now, right? Like, that is it, because you can't go on the Zonia's Mel. You can't go on anyone on the top side. And you really can't win a fight by spending all of your damage on either. So JDG now, it's got to be basically Viper or a bust. And if you ult from really long range, and on Viper, he's going to R, Conmay step, he's going to pull you back into the middle of the team, and they're going to do what they've done to Junja a number of times this game.
All right, BLG, time to crack open the base, and it's not going to be met with much resistance at all. Tier 3 turret falls in the mid lane as JDG still thinking about, do we even fight for this? Is inhib number 1 worth it? The answer seems to be no right now as Vampire gets back from the fountain, joins back up with the rest of the team. Only Nico cloned in the enemy base there. They throw the light binding at it just in case. Junja and Xiaoxu trying to defend the tier 3 turret here in bottom. Bin again though, just that front line you can't do anything about. The Scion is so hard to kill as the third plate drops off of the tier 3 turret. BLG know that they've only got the Baron for about another 10 seconds. As you can see, Bin going for a recall, does have teleport to rejoin the rest of the team if he needs to. Shun though might be caught on a little bit of a bad spot, but On has a nice Pop Blossom and dares the kill onto the Vibe. Junja's into the picture and Viper goes in. He's transcended and he's ready to put the pressure onto JDG. The Renekton is useless. Decimating smash into Gala. Bin creating all the space in the world as JDG have to head back to the fountain, tail between their legs. And BLG got a 5v3. They push towards Nexus turrets. First one's about to drop. Bin continuing to keep everybody else on JDG trapped in the fountain steps. As On moves forward, tries to reposition. He will fall. 4v3 for BLG. Shun with the tackle forward. Steadfast presence again. So much value here out of the Poppy W. Hongq dies. Gala dies. Vampire can't do anything. BLG win game 2. They're on match point.
It was a great start from JDG, but these are some crazy cooks, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Wait. Is it support Aurora?
It's support.
Oh, support Anivia! It's support Anivia!
Oh, support Anivia with mid lane Aurora. Okay. All right. I was like,
you do always have to be careful in these matchups, though, as he is now trying to get this wave crashed in, and Shun is behind him.
Yeah, Shun is coming up. Been very low on health, completely out of mana. Shun gonna try to go after the Tryndamere here. Goes in for the 3 talent strike, audacious charge, wind becomes lightning. Xiaoxu's trying to get a reset here on his spin to get away, but it ain't gonna work. Shun, first blood for BLG.
Nicely done, and now you have no kill, so it's not gonna swing this matchup out of control. But Bin's still got a really good early buy here. With the plated steel cap, it's gonna be very effective.
Beautiful job from Shun over the wall. I love it when junglers utilize the after pit gank in the mid lane when the enemy mid laner's under turret. He hits the wind, becomes lightning. They know there's no flash on the way, and they accomplish the dive there. It is BLG plus 700 gold, but JDG snags the first Drake for themselves. It is Ocean Drake #1 at 6.5 minutes in, so that's going to feel good for your laning phase.
I mean, it kind of just feels like Shun is just running this series, man. He has been so effective, and, well, Junja hasn't really done anything wrong. You know, he's just power farming, you know, he's doing his thing. Shun has affected both the soul lanes, right? He's been able to really make a big difference, and that is tough. Juan is getting low. Remember, he has no egg.
Yeah, he does hit the Flash Frost there. Close range. Vampire trying to get away, but a nice wall. Flash away from the high note, 2. On with the outplay. Scepter's at least going to give him some sustain, dealing with that constant harass from the Maiden. Oh, no. Honku gets hit by a max range Enchanted Crystal Arrow into the perfect Flash Frost follow. And between...
Comically slow, and you know, he's on no boots, but Ana is just playing it really, really well. He looks so comfortable here. And it was a pretty hard force from the JDG bot lane. You know, Gala, I feel like maybe tipped his hand a little bit because he's not even picking up souls. He's walking past the souls to just run straight at the Anivia. And they look for this encore with Junja behind him, but can't find it, so...
Okay, JDG decide they're going to commit 4 men to this one. Remember that Tryndamere has no teleport to try to join these things. That's one thing you got to be concerned about, but there's no TP on Bin with the Yorick either. Arrow flies out, but it goes straight between the uprights. Shun wants to try to steal it away, but no, Knight's the one who gets it! Shun in the middle of everybody, staying alive for now, but he does eventually fall. Honkyu's got to be careful, he's trapped inside the Glacial Storm. Vampire dies to the volley, and Knight's going further forward. He wants to see if he can pick up Gala here too. Not quite enough in the lane, so they're shoved up. They're constantly making sure that they're putting the pressure on their opponents. Shun's going to secure the Rift Herald now too. So overall, BLG has got most of the objectives here in this game. They secured all 3 Grubs, they secured the Herald, they stole away that second Drake from JDG, so 3 out of 4 ain't bad. As Knight now goes in after Honku yet again, between worlds setting it up. Proto Belt to try to knock it down, but Honku, oh no, the weirding flash. Beautifully placed from Knight to guarantee that he gets the kill on the enemy mid laner, takes the double buffs along with it. Gala getting stopped by the wall here for a second. Remember that On still has his egg if they want to try to continue chasing. Junja's there, and that's what they got to be cautious of. The Olaf almost has his ulti ready to go again, and that is Shun just going way too far. Overplays his hand, gets overzealous. On to
be pushed back to base, or back to tower, excuse me there, but we'll just be able to constantly sustain up. Viper, though, the big winner here, knocks down the first tower of the game. 17
at this point, he was dealing with the full item Tryndamere, where he was still having components himself because he stopped off for both steel caps, excuse me, and executioners.
Finish off his tower on bot side though, so that is going to be even more problematic. And I gotta say, this is
you might want to let that one slide this time, as Bin will be able to just take out this tier 1 turret here in the top lane now. And this is one thing I did want to pay attention to this game, because last game BLG's Herald was kind of just a sadness Herald. They just had to summon it up because it was running out. They got no value. This time around, very different story. Junja caught on the wrong side of the wall, taking a bunch of damage as Shun goes in, and they kill the Olaf. He can't be immune to the wall. Now Honkyu's in danger because remember, he doesn't have a flash. The shield is enough to keep him alive for now. No, but the double kill over to Shun, as now they're going to look to maybe make it a triple. Shun taking a lot of damage, though. Gala over the wall finds the kill, so at least they get... That was about the only single mistake. TP coming in now from BLG. They know that the Tryndamere does not have his ulti. This is your chance to punish him, maybe find that kill. Spin away over the wall, though. Plenty of mobility on this champion. It's one of the things that makes him so obnoxious, but hey, Viper does no wrong with his ultis. The Ash arrows are point and click this game.
Yeah, it's just another day at the range. Bullseye after bullseye after bullseye for Viper. He has been on fire in this game, and I gotta agree with you. BLG playing almost perfect. Knight is behind them. They don't know Knight's behind him.
Okay, Viper's getting run down, though. Nice kill coming out there for Junja, as Shun puts the pressure into the back line, and Vampire dies. Junja going after On, but now the Olaf is isolated. He has no Ragnarok. The cage is there, and Ben sends him straight to jail. Nice pickup there from BLG.
With that maiden damage, and BLG does not look like they'll be contested. I mean, Junja's dead for a long time, and no one else here is even moving over into the area. So this one is just going to be gone. They're already up 5K. And the
That's 3-1 on the Drake count. Sole point from BLG. Red Bull Baron power play still for the majority of that time, or 2 minutes. Isaac, why not? Because it helps him do extra troll stuff. Oh, another nice arrow onto Honku. Not enough to kill him here just yet as the Dawning Shadow goes through, and it's a ton of burst down onto the Aurora. That's a huge shutdown onto Knight. But what about On and Viper back towards Junja? They get one in return again. Defensive ulti from Shun to stay alive, but he's rooted up underneath the tower. That last shot will not have enough damage to kill him. Meanwhile, the Yorick split pushing over in mid lane, trying to make sure that BLG maintains multiple points of pressure. The shutdown on Knight was huge, and that's his first death the entire game. But Bin in purgatory, as they'll both just, like you said earlier, you kill the wave, you don't engage with the other guy. But when the other guy has more other guys that come to help him, all of a sudden it's harder to not interact. As Knight nearly insta-kills Gala. Shun's coming in to try to finish the job. Ulti for the defense as On and Knight continue to back up their jungler, but it's a lot of damage onto Shun, and he's shut down. Nice kill for Junja. Gala still barely staying alive now as well. 4v5 on the Rift. Xiaoshu tries to flash over the Flash Frost. He goes after Viper, but again, it's On with a beautiful wall that the Tryndamere cannot get through. And Arrow to the heart takes his life, as now a flash out from Vampire keeps the Rift to 4v4. Baron's going to spawn in 5 seconds. The Mountain Drake is already up. On and Viper still hanging around, still seeing if maybe they can harass this enough as they fire out another arrow onto Hongq, and Knight arrives with a teleport right behind him. He shouldn't have enough damage to take this kill. It ends up sealing the fate of the BLG mid laner instead, but the entire time, Bin is in the enemy base. Damage from the shot. Hongq coming around on the flank. Viper and Bin approaching here as well. Hongq has to flash. The wall would have sealed his fate otherwise. As Shun goes into the middle of everybody and Gala's already down. Now the Olaf tries to flash into the back line, goes after Viper and finds them. Vampire's trapped in the pit. It's a double kill as Shun kills the Olaf. And now the Tryndamere is trapped in the middle of everybody. He's unkillable for now, but he's got to get something. And all he gets is buried in the river. BLG, they're just too far ahead. They stop the Baron attempt. They complete the Baron take themselves. And only Hongq is left standing on JDG. Remember, the bottom lane inhibitor is exposed because of Bin's split push earlier, as we'll see pressure onto the mid and top lanes for the time being, as everybody in BLG is grouping up, but Knight gets caught. A big blunder from the mid laner gets punished, and that's going to slam the brakes of the Baron push.
Knight tried to go across the Veil. He tried to angle it so he could hop over the edge.
The Dragon is started by Viper. The Ashe has a lot of DPS for this, and remember that On is just going to use walls to keep everybody from JDG away. Buy a little bit more time for BLG to secure the Mountain Soul. Yes, they've got it. Xiaoshu wants to go in. He's going after Viper. He tries to spin forward, but the flash over the wall for the AD carry keeps him alive. Flash over the wall from On to try to respond. Killing spree for Shun as they take out the top laner. Junja dies trying to go forward. Now it's a 5v3 for BLG. Gala barely missing, getting stunned out there by the Flash Frost. Arrow shoots out. Arrow collides. Vampire tries to be the sacrificial lamb for his team. He flashes forward. He wants to take the blast cone to try to get away, but no! Vampire falls and the sun shines bright for BLG. Hongq's golden, and it'll just be a trophy for the LPL #1 seed. Double kill for Viper, and it's a 5v1 push. Gala Senna, there's not enough souls on Summoner's Rift to get you out of this one. Bin will chase him back to the fountain. There's no Summoner spells available. The Nexus turrets will be the next target. The first time they fought, it was 3-2 BLG. The finals was 3-1 BLG. And now at first stand, it's 3-0 BLG. They'll make their way to